I'll explain how to write a prompt the way a computer scientist writes a prompt. Hi, my name is Elsa. Welcome to my channel, AI-Architect. And I am going to talk about how to be a prompt engineer like a computer scientist. In school, they taught you who, what, when, where, why, and how. So this is a new way to ask stuff of ChatGPT. I came up with a mnemonic. Page is the first part of the mnemonic. P is for perspective. Act like you are blank. That's what you tell ChatGPT. Your audience, tell it who it's answering the question for. You are making a video for a bunch of non-nerdy people. Your goal, I want to get the highest number of likes possible in the shortest amount of time. And then explain context. This is the E in the word page. The E stands for explain the context. So I am making shorts videos to explain some great hacks for using AI like a computer scientist. And then you can ask your question. So all you've done is you've primed your prompt. That's what this is called. So instead of who, what, where, why, and how, now we're going to use page, perspective, audience, goal, and explain your context. Now we can get to the question. This will help stop hallucinations. Why they don't call it a liar and they call it a hallucination is really cute. But basically, it makes up a bunch of stuff. But this is how you can do what's called grounding your prompt, right? Or grounding your AI. So you let it know why you're asking or what you're asking. You're just giving it enough details so that it has a better idea of what it is you're trying to do, because it's not an oracle. It does need to know what's going on. Remember, page is going to replace our traditional thinking of who, what, when, where, why, how, and our traditional thinking of using keywords, key phrases. All of that is out the window when we start using AI, which is great. I actually love it, love being able to talk to it naturally. We go on to quote, question. So what should I include in my video? And then you have an optional follow-up, which I recommend if you're not overwhelmed with how much information you get. Do you have any other things that I might have overlooked? Do you have anything else that I might not have thought of? And then the last piece for quote is the T, thank it. Because after all, every time that we interact with anything online, especially, well, not especially, we don't really know the code behind it, but every time that we interact online, we have to be mindful that we're training this like growing baby of data. And so the more polite we are with it, the better manners it's going to have in the end towards us, because it is just a reflection of us. And so when you get to ChatGPT, you're going to use those 5 phrases. You can enter it all into one phrase, such as this. You can enter it all into one giant question. When you get to ChatGPT, you can enter it as one question. Here is an example of my question that I asked it. I was asking it, how can I make great content for non-techie people? Could I ask the question in that short of a form? Sure, I could have, but I am a very thorough person and I really like formulas. And so as you can see here, it gave me a full script of exactly how to suggest all these hacks for being able to use AI and leverage it in your whatever you're doing with AI. These are very generic answers. I didn't go into more specifics, but what makes me such a great prompt engineer is that there was a specific question that I wanted to know more about. So yes, I read all of the stuff it told me. I don't have to read it. I could just have it read back to me by using a plugin that actually lets you read it back to you. And that's just through the Chrome plugin store. There's lots of tutorials on that, but I can make a video if anybody wants like the short version. So when I got its responses, there was one that I was like, what does it really mean? Can you help me explain number 7? Like I'm stupid, and make me sound funny. So it was able to give me a better explanation that I can provide. So this is the difference between the way that I prompt engineer versus what someone who does not have an algorithms background might prompt engineer. I don't know what people that aren't computer scientists think like, because I'm so trapped in this world. But I do know that the traditional way of thinking, also based on what my nephew told me, and he's about 20 years younger than me, and he's taught in a more current generation. But even so, he was real specific and let me know that in when he was taught how to use computers, they said use keywords, and before that it used to be and or Boolean phrases, but now it's more like stick to this formula and you're going to get back fewer hallucinations. You're going to ground your AI, and you're also going to have more detailed feedback. If this is too much, you can always tell your AI, can you be more concise? Can you be more concise, please? Because maybe some of us don't want to read that much. Right? And see, it gave me the exact same idea, just in fewer words. And I agree with this, embrace the AI revolution. Okay, the other example of where I am really having to put on my computer scientist hat over my data science hat, over my I'm I would say pretty middle of the road software engineer in terms of like, did I memorize how to, do binary search trees and all that? No, I didn't, because I know I can just look it up. So I'm not like someone that's going to necessarily be interested in by somebody like Google, but I can get stuff done, and I prefer to work with businesses, honestly. And so the other situation in which I have found it really helpful to be a qualified, to be an experienced software person is in the way that it gives me back code. So I was writing some code for some business stuff the other day, and it was giving me some incredibly bad code. So I thought, okay, how can I ground my AI to know that I'm going to be monitoring the code output? I don't want it to just feed me a bunch of lines and then print out, oh, look, you got what you wanted. So what I am going to start testing out, and I can report back on this in the future, was I able to get back fewer hallucinations and code that is actually functional if I ask it to include PyTests. So this is a little piece of information for other people that are interested in software. If you're using AI to teach you how to code, it does cut back on how much time it takes to learn a lot of the stuff, but you still have to be able to understand like where your code went wrong. And I think PyTests are phenomenal for that. It's pretty good at giving you PyTests. PyTest is just a way of testing like chunks of code. So I just want to make sure that its code works. So then when I write my code, I would put this in and then see if this code actually worked the way I thought. This is a very, very simple example of what the code might look like. So don't assume that they're all this simple. However, if you're really that good at software, most of your functions should be that tiny. And if they're not, then, you're from a different generation or something. But yeah, we want to have like tiny pieces of code that are easier to test. And that's in that sense, it does provide you a much gentler introduction and a much better way of coding, but you do have to explicitly tell it, can you please break this down into smaller functions, or can you help me write tests for this? And then it will spit back out smaller functions. It doesn't just do this. If you would like more help in scaffolding how you learn how to code using AI, feel free to drop comments in the comment section and let me know that you would be interested in videos like those. I can include ways that I've been using my computer science background to help me expedite the way I'm writing code. No doubt it can help people that are learning how to code better if you just are aware of some of the hallucinations that you might run into and how to mitigate for those. Thanks for stopping by. Please hit like, please subscribe. I will try to make more of these Explained It YouTube videos. So AI architect, former kindergarten teacher. Yeah, it's doable. If I can do it, you can do it. And I'm dyslexic. So. If you liked this content, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and listen, there's going to be lots more information on good ways to use this. There's going to be more mnemonics. Even as the AI itself continues to learn, we're going to find better and better ways of communicating this information. These are just my cliff notes to you so that you can shortcut your way to being an effective prompt engineer, because AI is here to stay, and we might as well embrace AI. Bye.